All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to pull apart one of the most clever and, frankly, chilling fictional plots I have ever come across. This is a strategy that completely ignores conventional weapons, and instead, it targets our own biology. So we're going to deconstruct it piece by piece. Let's dive in.
And this quote right here, this is basically the entire playbook in a single sentence. See, the Dark Architect's goal isn't just about destruction. It's about disconnection. The whole idea is to cut that deep biological wire that connects us to our environment, which cripples our natural built-in ability to heal and recharge. It's a really subtle and deeply unsettling concept. Now, real quick, I have to put this up. It's super important to remember all of this comes from a novel called The Spy Who Saw the Light. So what we're doing here is analyzing a fictional strategy. This isn't being presented as fact. Okay, now that we're all on the same page, let's get into how this wild plan actually works. So, if you're going to launch an attack this ambitious, where do you even begin? Well, you start at the biggest scale you can think of. The first layer of this plot targets the sky itself. The plan is to corrupt the very source of light we all depend on, starting right up in the atmosphere and working its way down to us.
Okay, so this lays out the atmospheric assault, and it's this really fascinating chain reaction. It all kicks off with these engineered aerosols getting pumped into the atmosphere. What they do is change the way sunlight scatters, turning a crisp blue sky into this kind of dull, milky, hazy wash. Now, for our brain's master clock, which really needs strong, clear light cues to set our daily rhythm, this is like trying to listen to your favorite radio station, but it's all static. That noisy, low-contrast signal completely confuses our internal timekeeper, which weakens our whole rhythm and slowly pushes it off schedule.
All right, let's build on that. After messing with the light signal from the sky, the next part of the plan has to deal with the light that actually gets through. This layer targets our body's surface, our skin. And the really wild part is how it does it, by weaponizing a product that's probably in your bathroom cabinet right now.
You know, most of us think of our skin as just a protective wrapper, right? But biologically, it is so much more than that. It is a photoreceptive organ, meaning it's constantly interacting with light. And this process, dermal photoreception, is absolutely crucial. It's what drives things like making vitamin D, and it even helps manage our blood pressure. Our skin isn't just a passive shield, it's an active, light-gathering sensor.
And this is where the plan gets so diabolical. It weaponizes something that's supposed to protect us: sunscreen. By encouraging everyone to use it all the time, the architect's plot basically puts a filter between the entire population and the sun. This doesn't just block vitamin D production, it messes with a ton of other light-driven functions, all while adding to the body's chemical burden. So a product we associate with health gets twisted into this tool for biological suppression. So we've got a noisy light signal from a hazy sky, and our skin's ability to receive that light is being blocked. Now the plan kicks it up a notch with layer 3, a direct chemical assault right on the brain's central timekeeping system. And at the heart of this layer is the pineal gland. You can think of it like the brain's nightly messenger. Its whole job is to take in all the light signals from the day, and then, when it gets dark, to produce the hormone melatonin. And melatonin, it's everything. It's the conductor of our sleep orchestra, sending out the signal to every single cell in our body that it's time to rest and repair. And this is how the attack works. The plot introduces chronic exposure to fluoride, which, according to the novel, starts to build up in and calcify the pineal gland. It literally hardens it, degrading its ability to function properly. And the result? The melatonin signal, that crucial go-to-sleep message, gets weak and staticky. Our sleep orchestra's conductor is now trying to lead with a broken baton, and the whole symphony just falls apart. Okay, let's put all the pieces together for a second. We have a distorted signal from the sky, a shielded receiver on our skin, and a broken timekeeper in our brain. When you combine those first 3 layers, they unleash the fourth and final one: absolute chaos at the cellular level. See, here's something you have to understand. Our brain's clock isn't the only one we have. We've got all these little peripheral clocks in our major organs: the liver, the gut, the heart, you name it. And they all take their cues from that master clock in the brain. But when that main signal gets faint and unreliable, all these other clocks start to drift. They lose their synchronization. To go back to our orchestra, it's not just the conductor who's off. Now every single musician is playing to their own beat. It's a total mess. And this chart really just lays out the devastating consequences. In a healthy, synchronized body, our cells are these little powerhouses of efficiency. They're making energy, clearing out waste, repairing damage. But in the desynchronized state the architect creates, all of that just falls apart. The body gets plunged into this chronic energy deficit. Metabolic signals get all confused, and that crucial nightly repair work just grinds to a halt. Our mitochondria, the tiny engines in our cells, are basically running on fumes. Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all. Why? Why would anyone go to all this trouble? What could possibly be the end game of such a sophisticated, multi-layered attack on our biology? Well, the answer is a single, chilling objective. The goal is something the architect calls controlled under-vitality. The point isn't to make people obviously acutely sick. It's to make them just less. To create a population that is perpetually tired. A society that can still work and consume, but doesn't have the energy to create, to innovate, to question. They're kept in a state of being awake but never fully charged. They're functional, but they are not flourishing. And a population like that is too tired and foggy to ever truly thrive or to resist.
And that quote right there, that's the final piece of the puzzle. The biological attack isn't the end goal, it's the setup. It creates that biological precondition for everything that comes next. Because a population that is exhausted, metabolically confused, and running on empty is way, way more vulnerable to psychological manipulation and narrative control. The physical weakness is just the key that unlocks the mental battlefield. So after deconstructing this whole fictional plot, we're kind of left with a pretty profound real-world question, aren't we? As our modern lives seem to pull us further and further away from the natural cycles of light and dark, how do we protect our own essential biological connection to them? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.